Alright, what I did here, I just flew around staring at one point like this and made my way around taking video at 4K. I mean, I use my video card. Like, I just go into here and record video at the maximum bit rate at 4K. And when I use, well, my display set at 4K also. And also I had to turn the scaling down to 100%. Now that I've got this video, I can move it back up, or it would blow up the pixels larger. And like I said, this is Google Earth Pro. Now you can see how that looks like crap now. So that's how I had to capture it. Now this step is to go into Blender and go to video editing, and now you will import in that footage you captured. Let's see. So this is what I'm recording now. This is the one that I just captured. And you can right click and say movie strip, set render size. And what I have to do now is wait for this. I could have turned that off. I'd like to see it though, to know my card starts to capture. I've thought I've recorded things before with it off and then ended up not recording. So I wait purposely to start moving until that disappears. And what I'll do is see. Now the next thing I have to do is crop this out, this top and the bottom. So I'll just scale the image. I'll just go to transform and I'll scale it equally on both axes until the Google is gone and the little bar at the top is gone, because you don't want that, or you'll end up, that'll be on your textures. So start frame right here, and in frame is 3065. It says right here how many frames total. Now here's where you break out your calculator and you decide how many pictures do you want to send to Meshroom. Well, if I tell it to do stepping at every 100th frame, that's going to give me about 30 images, or 20, actually with that, that's going to be about 26 images, which isn't too bad. But for cities, and I've done this before, it didn't work with the minimum amount of pictures, so I'm going to crank it down, turn it down rather, so it's only going to export at every 50th frame of this fly around. And I'll tell I'll make a new folder for it to go into, like that, and tell it to be PNG files. Take off the compression and basically hit render animation, and that's going to export all these frames, which it's honestly probably not enough frames, but we'll see. Now keep in mind, this is for like distance scenery. If you want actual buildings to be driving down the road in between, you're going to need to get a lot closer if you do this method, and or take screenshots and build the stuff and by using primitives. I'll go over that too. But let's take this into Meshroom, and while this is working in the background, we can be doing something else. So now I will navigate to my temp folder where these buildings images are stored, and here we have all of our images from that video I took, which that's a lot of images, 52 of them. I'm leaving everything as it's set except for texturing. I'm going to crank this up to 16K, but it's downsampling too, so it's only really going to be like 8K. everything else I'm leaving the same. I'm gonna start the animation, start the rendering, save the project, and we'll have to come back to this. That's gonna take about 30 minutes. Just a guess, I don't know. Now I'm taking a screenshot. I need my scaling to be 100% if I want this to look decent. I don't want to have blown up pixels, so we'll just go into here and we'll just find a building, one that looks like a box, to do this on. I forgot how to move around in here. It's been a while since I've been in here. And I know these don't look great. I mean, they're not very, some of these textures are not very good. But this building seems to be better than some of the others. Oh yeah, I hate navigating in here. I forget how the hell to... All these programs use different things to move around in. There should be some universal movement for all of them. So we'll take that screenshot, print screen, and go into your photo editing program and paste it. Yes, everything's taking longer because that's rendering in the background. Man, that thing really it really takes a beating on your CPU when you run Meshroom. It's quite the calisthenic workout, I would say, for your CPU cores. As you can see, these cores are going through quite the workout. Like interval training. So let's try to load this again. Alright, here we go. Now I'm going to take another screenshot and just go over to this building. Take that one. And paste it. New layer. Now I don't need everything in there. I just want everything but that. Now I can move this to here. And I got a couple building sides. I'll go back into Google Earth. Let's see, let's get one more. I don't know. I saw one that said the Marriott Marquis Hotel. And directly beside it is the SunTrust Bank. Now we could use that one, and this one if we wanted to. Sometimes getting closer it'll look better, but sometimes not. Hey, this would be quite a time-consuming thing to do. I'm just going to get these two in the middle. And they're not perfectly lined up, but you know, it'll work. Let me make the canvas size taller. So we got more room. See, image canvas size. I'll just make it 4096 by 4096. That'll give us more of an area to work with. Alright, I'll just flatten the image. And zoom out. Let's see. Alright, now since it is power of 2, meaning it's either 512 by 512, 1024 by 1024, 2048 by 2048, or it can be 512 by 4096, whatever. Just as long as it's power of 2, you can save it as a DDS file, and that'll give you a little better performance than a PNG or a JPEG. So we'll export this. I'll just export it on the desktop, and I'll just call it building.dds. Now, to use a DDS in the game, it's got to have the right compression, and for this one, since it's not a normal map and there's no transparencies, it's going to be BC1 compression type to generate MIP maps here. So now let's go into, we'll load another, or no, we can use the same Blender. Oh, that's the wrong program. Wait a minute. Let me make my images, my scaling back real quick. I can't see. Alright, so we'll just go to New, General. Alright, and we'll take this box and we'll scale it so that it's kind of the shape of a building. Now just keep in mind the texture you're putting on it. Base color, image, texture. Open, and we'll go to the desktop and find that picture. There it is. Alright, turn on the texture view, and now we got some UV work to do. So we go to edit mode and we pick a face, and we go to UV editor, and that face is this. But since we didn't apply all transforms, we'll do that real quick. Apply all transforms. That way we can unwrap this thing, and it'll do the should do by hitting A. It should unwrap these proportionately, but it didn't. I don't know why. I'm not a Blender expert. We'll just unwrap one. We just unwrap this one face here, which I just clicked that one face and went to unwrap. And see, now it is correct. That matches that. So we're scaling this down and moving it, and move that down to there. Oh, yeah, and when you do this, you got to recheck this again, because for some reason it unchecks this texture view. So now we'll do that one. Unwrap it, scale it down, move it. Now we got that view, and we just go around this thing and do this to all of them. Alright, the top, oh, forgot about the top. Oops. Well, you can go back and get textures for the top. I forgot to get them. But, just inside of here, you just go to the top view and get another screenshot or two. That wouldn't be a problem. I must not hit the right thing. And I forgot to change the scaling, but it's alright. I ain't worrying about it. I'm not going to do all these. I'm just going to do one. I'll use this one. Damn it, I forget about this thing. We'll crop out everything but that. Move it over here. Reflatten the image, re-export the file, and then in Blender it should have this update which it didn't update. We'll just reopen it. I must be blind. I can't see today. Alright, there we go. So now we pick the top there. I'm not going to, that's already square, so I don't have to unwrap it. And I'm just going to, you know, move it over. That's alright, I guess. Now we'll do another one. We can do this funny shape one here. So we can get back to layout. And I'll just make a copy of this building. Move it over. Maybe scale it. Make a duplicate. Another duplicate. Scale this one more that way. Alright, we got this other shape building. Just the same texture, I realize that. And it looks stretched, but you could fix that. You could just go into your UV editor. Ooh, I forgot something. Oh, well, you have to do like a loop cut. Alright, that gives us a new face there. Let's see, move that one to here. Scale it. Oh, I'm thinking, why can't I pick that? That's a different object. That's why. Let's see, this one, I don't know. I'll do something different for this one. Scale this one to this one. Oops. It's upside down. Now it's backwards. Well, you can go to UV, mirror, say X. Yeah, X. I mean, I realize this is not the same building, but you know, you get the idea. You can do with these textures pretty much whatever. Put whatever on whichever one you want. Yeah, and I realize we don't have enough picture stuff to really do all these. Not enough images taken to really do a good job anyway. So. I mean, not many people look at the top of the buildings. Alright, let's do this last one. This Marriott Marquis. We'll just... I'll just make a copy of this one. Scale it differently. Whoop, and it's upside down. Damn it, hit the wrong thing. Do that often. I can maybe make that a little better by adjusting this just a bit. Which, you know, you can find a lot better textures than this method for getting textures off of Google for the buildings. You know what I mean? You can go on Bing and get a lot better texture maps from the internet of sides of buildings. But this is the easiest way to make the simplest types of buildings that are not going to cause you much processing or anything. You know, it's pretty low budget on the GPU there. And like I said, these are like distance. You can combine these together and see. Join. And you know, you can mass produce these. Rotate them all different ways and I'm actually copying all the cameras and lights too, which I didn't mean to do. Now, I know this is not the city being represented, right? But you get an idea how in just a short amount of time you can make quite the background scenery, you know. But you spend more time, you make individual buildings, you make them better than I did, make them better than these textures I used by getting better textures. But you get the idea how you can quickly make something from very primitive things. Let's check on Meshroom. I think we are getting close to being finished. As you can see, based on the video, these are all the cameras that it figured out was where the cameras were from the video fly around. And it has plotted what they call a point cloud representation of the mesh that will be. That may not turn out half bad. Like, it'll be distant scenery. It won't be good for up close, but from a distance, it may work. We'll soon see. That's a big chunk there. Now, when you do things in Meshroom, you got to know that it makes many polygons. The best way to reduce them is to have it done in here by adding a mesh decimate instead of doing it in Blender. But what we'll do after it renders, we'll connect the mesh to the import mesh and then the output mesh, and then let it retexture it. Which actually, once that finishes meshing, I'll stop it and I'll just reconnect it, interrupt it. We'll go ahead and reduce them. And this isn't really something you can bake high poly normals on low poly normals of. I mean, you can, but it ain't gonna really look any different because they're such like primitive geometries anyway. So let's see, where is that done? Oh, no idea how much is left. I don't even know what all those errors and stuff are. As long as it's green, 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 you're good. If you see red, then yeah, it's got an issue. This does work great though for scenery. I've used it for lots of stuff. I'm gonna guess this thing's gonna be in the upwards of 5 million polygons, just a guess. And I have ran this, oh, I said I was gonna stop that before it did the texturing. Alright, so here we right click here, we get rid of that node, or that connector of nodes. Alright, then we're gonna connect mesh to import mesh, output mesh to mesh. Change this in the attributes to just say 0.1. Start, and it'll tell us in the log how many polygons it worked with and what it reduced it to. Oh, it wasn't near as bad as I thought. It was only 1 million polygons, and it got it down to 100,000, which that's doable in the game. That's a lot, but it's not that bad. You don't want to reduce the polys too low. It's gonna look like crap. And that's where baking comes in. Or if you want to get that low poly model looking like the high poly model, you just bake those normals. And bake those diffuse textures, and I just don't know how well that would work on this. This might be the first successful photogrammetry I've done for buildings, and it's probably only because I was such a far distance away. The other time I was very close. I was going around each building a lot closer. But it's almost done. And like I said, I ran this on the old i7 7700K. The only difference now is just faster with the better CPU, but I'd say maybe 3 times faster than what it was, but you can still use it. The main thing is how much memory you got. I got 16 gigs of RAM, but 8 gigs of video RAM, so it'll let you know if there's problems with the requirements. I believe to use the GPU though for this, to recognize GPU. Oh no, I'm thinking of, never mind. Forget, I'm thinking of something else. I'm sure it works with AMD too, but I ain't 100% sure. Wow, damn, that turned out better than I thought. But like I said, it's distant scenery stuff for like the horizon, you know. Now, of course, I was not looking at every single thing all the way around. I was focusing on the center. So all that's on the outside is going to be cut out. Right? We're not using all this crap. This is garbage. We're just using the center. Which I already knew that was going to happen because, you know, you'd have to go around everything in a 360-degree fashion to get all the sides for it to look correctly all the way around. and that's not what we did. I just did a, you know, center. So now we go to attributes, we go to mesh, textured mesh. We copy this location, which is in the texturing, copy this to our clipboard, and then in Blender we go to File, Import, OBJ, paste that location, and there is our mesh. Just import it in. As you can see, it is very small. I'm going to scale it up. Alright, now let me get rid of all this other stuff. Alright, so I'm going to say set origin to 3D cursor, object origin to geometry. Now I'm going to go to these different views and rotate it until it is the right way. Move it up out of the ground some, and then rotate it on the top view. Now in edit mode, I want to cut out everything I said I'm not going to use, which is pretty much everything outside of this perimeter. I'm going to select lasso, and I'm going to say turn on X-ray. Now I don't need to see what I'm selecting. I know I don't have to actually see it. All that yellow line stuff is confusing, so I just know like what I draw here, the area I'm drawing. I complete the loop. I can say delete vertices, and it'll get rid of pretty much what I expect it to. But you can leave this on if you need to see this. It's just I hate looking at that because it's just you can't see nothing. Alright, go to object mode. We are done in edit mode. Oh, we got some more garbage out there we got to get. There's still some stuff out there. For some reason, I can't pick it. It's like it just left. Oh, because I'm still got faces selected. That's why. I select the vertices there. Alright, now let's get a sense of scale. Let's import in something from the game. Say I got this truck that I use here. Alright, so here's the car from the game, correct scale of it, and you can see the scale of this city is not right for this car's scale. So we'll just scale the city up until it is the right size. You can see little cars in the parking lot, even though it looks terrible. Let's move our vehicle over. That might be about right. Yeah, that's about right. Maybe we got the city just a little too large. You probably would have to also change your view distance to see. So you might get some clipping. Oh, look how I did a crappy job of cutting that out. We got some half buildings, but I'm not worrying about it. Well, yeah, I am. It does irritate me. Let me get rid of that. Alright, now, do you want to collide with this, or do you plan on running into that? I mean, if you do, then you can just duplicate it. Shift D and call this the collision mesh. COLMESH-1. Now we need to have two empty plane axes. Call one base 0, 0 and the other start 0, 1. Hold shift, left click, drag and drop start into the base and the collision mesh and the texture. You can do them hold shift, left click, drag and drop and put them in the start like this. The texture is called Texture Atlas 1001. That's not going to work for us, so we're going to change this to, I'm just going to call it City 1. And I normally would convert that texture into a DDS file, but to make this a little shorter, I'm just going to use it like it is. Now I'm going to export this to the desktop as a DAE file, and I'll just call it City 1. And it's going to copy the texture over there, and we'll just call this City 1 DAE. Now I'm going to get a file, this material from the desktop. I'm going to copy it to my clipboard and go into that new folder and paste it. Alright, I'm going to, just to be lazy, I'm going to rename this, but just for the purposes of copying it to the clipboard. In here I'm going to paste it to, where's the color map? Color map right here. And what did I say the texture was? City 1 is what I named that texture in Blender. So this gets put in these 3 spots. What this will do is make the texture, if you don't do it, you'll have a red texture, or you have to manually create it inside the world editor. But I prefer to do it this way, so that when I get in the world editor, my texture is made already and I don't have a red texture. Occasionally you screw up and you still get one here and there, but this works for me. This also makes it more convenient. We save this, obviously. This makes it more convenient that now I can just copy this folder and I can drop it in whatever level I want, which in this case I'm going to stick it on in small grid in the art folder, but it'll have its own folder, City 1, and it has to have its own folder because it has its own materials file, which it can't mix with the other one. You could add that texture to that one, but why just have it in its own folder? Then if you want to put it in another level, you can just drop it in another level's art folder. But let's load small grid. Let's see how it looks. From a distance, that is. We know how to look up close. Not good. And we hit F11 to get into our editor. And I know I've deleted that damn ramp 1,000 times. I just keep forgetting to save my level. Tired of looking at it. Alright, so here in the asset browser, you go to Window, Asset Browser. You should see the folder in your art folder for small grid, whatever you put it in, you should see. And so there is our beautiful Blender city that we made with photogrammetry, but we forgot to do one of the most important things you can do, and that is to say object shade smooth. Alright, let's re-export it. Now this you can do while the game is running. It will update it dynamically. Just be sure to put it in the right folder. Not the one on the desktop, but the one that you just copied into the level. Yeah, it's a little better now. But like I said, this at best is distant scenery using this method. You can see it does not look good up close. I have looked at tutorials for, but I have not seen any that I want to invest the time to personally learn, because just the amount of stuff involved to do those different Blender plugins for cities. It just, either way, it looks like it's a lot of work, you know. But maybe it's worth it to you. Maybe that's what you want to do. But like I said, this you know, this at best is detail scenery. It's not really going to be stuff you want to be driving down the middle, but you could, if you wanted to, drive down it. Oops. We also got to say rebuild collisions if we want to collide with our collision mesh. We'll move our car, and if you want to, you can our car is not going. It may be because it's on fire. I'm not sure. But yeah, this looks like PS1 graphics, or Xbox Series X, whichever. I'm just kidding. I don't know if any Xbox fans are. I'm a PlayStation fan, but I'm no fanboy. I wouldn't mind having the PS5, but I wouldn't want an Xbox Series X. Unless it was free, I would take it, of course. But I always liked PlayStation games better. But that's my opinion. We all have opinions. See? Nah, seriously, it's a great. They're both great systems. I'm just being stupid, being silly. So that's it. This is all my little tutorial. And see, I'm trying to navigate like I do in Blender, and I'm hitting all the wrong keys. Everything uses different keys to move around. But this is our little slice of Atlanta, which from a distance don't look bad. Well, it's okay.